Welcome back to the channel, guys. Michael here with you today. I am walking. It's 84 out and we are headed to the Natural Museum. To the Museum of Natural History. Let's talk about it. I love natural history museums. The two exhibits I'm really excited for are the fossils, of course they are, and the mammals. So I'm going to take you along with me. We're walking to the train station right now. I'm going to take you along with me, show you those two exhibits. Julie, of course, has been there before. She said it was a terrific museum. Not quite as good as New York's, but we'll go and kind of wander around and see what we get into. All right, I'll see you there in just a bit. All right, that wasn't too bad. 2 little stops. Oh, it's a pretty day. We got a 9-minute walk to get to the entrance of the museum. Okay, I guess we're going up to the exhibit. All right, this is the first thing I wanted to see that I found out about. This big woolly mammoth right in the center of the museum here. You see that? So I guess it's appropriate if we're going to start with mammals that we start with this guy. I'm going to walk around and see if I can find out any information about him. African bush elephant, the largest land mammal, and this is the largest specimen in the world right here. 83 pounds each. These 2 tusks, my friends. This is absolutely massive here. It's also a beautiful building, but I'm just kind of taken aback by how large this guy is. Let me zoom out here. But there's no way to give you any perspective. Just a big animal. My gosh. And the largest specimen in the world. It's crazy. I'm going to see if the museum will tell me anything about him specifically as far as when they acquired him or where he came from. I don't see specifically about him. However, it does say, of course, evolutionarily speaking, that when the dinosaurs died off, the mammals that were small at the time were given room to grow, and of course, elephants came out of that. And this one, it says that elephants are in danger right now, and kind of gives you a little bit of conservation that you can do to help in our choices that we make in everyday life to help the situation as well. And here's a map of declining numbers over the years. Welcome to the mammal family reunion. It says we can meet our relatives. Let's go do it. Now, you know me, I'm not going to film everything in here. We're not going to have a 2-hour vlog. I'm going to film what's interesting. Right off the bat, though, this tiger is interesting. And right across the way, Julie's favorite animal. One of my favorite, because of her, the dugong, right? Talking about the little manatee, and she has a calf on her. For those of you who don't know, that is where her mammary glands are. And that's where the baby suckles, is underneath her arms. So I'm just going to do a little bit of perusing here, kind of give you a quick rundown that I enjoy, and that's what we'll film the most of. This guy looks like he's having a terrible day. What is he? I'm going to see here. This is a white, no, is this right? A white tufted ear marmot? No, I think that's this guy. All right, let's see if I can find him. I'm not sure. I don't see him. They're supposed to be, if you look down here, focus for me, they're supposed to be in their natural position to kind of help you, but I don't see this fella laying out, but he appears to have been run over before they stuffed him and put him on display. Something else. Ooh, what's this big guy over here? All right, a western gorilla right in front of you. That's a cool specimen there. Look into the eyes, it says, of one of your closest relatives. Gorillas live in social groups just like we do, and they nurture their young for up to 8 years. All right, let's move on. Here's some of our other relatives. This is the reunion we were talking about as we entered. That looks like my brother there. And so, what's on the other side? Okay, we got a much cooler specimen over here. Big rhino. Big rhino. We'll keep the camera rolling. A white rhinoceros here. The big boy, one of the largest living land mammals. He is highly endangered, it says. Former President Theodore Roosevelt collected this very specimen in 1910 and donated it to the Smithsonian to be put on display. That's really cool. That is really cool. I see a fox, I see a bat up there. And this big fella, look at this big moose over here. My gosh. The antlers on this guy. Let me get a little bit closer. It is very crowded today, so I apologize. Let me get closer, see if we can read a little bit more. I'll get a little bit further behind him to show you his body. And it says this guy has long legs, right? And broad antlers to be able to push through the snow. Forage for water. Largest living member of the deer family right here. I've never seen a moose in person before. It's a very spectacular specimen. I hope you guys can hear me okay as well. Jeez, because it's so crowded in here today. I'm gonna swing right around the corner here and show you a big giraffe. So the first time I ever saw one of these guys, because Julie, if you can believe it or not, took me to my very first zoo. I had such bad allergies and asthma as a kid. My parents did not risk it. And so as I got older, just kind of forgot about it. But yeah, when I met Julie, she took me to my very first zoo. It was a zoo in North Carolina. But subsequently, when we ended up in Florida, and specifically we ended up in Melbourne, we found a zoo. Melbourne Zoo is like top 3 in the world for small zoos. And there was an experience inside the zoo where we could feed the giraffe a piece of romaine lettuce. It was like $2 for a piece of romaine lettuce. So we got to feed, that was before our channel, I think, really the channel was becoming older than I probably remember. But yeah, that was the first time that I got to see a giraffe and be up close and personal with a giraffe. I just showed you a few of his vertebrae. I'm kind of moving the camera in and out just when I can get in. Again, I try not to film, certainly not children, but try not to film anyone. So here, of course, is a comparison of our cervical vertebrae, so your neck, and then, of course, modern and extinct giraffe. This vertebrae is insane here, and that is present day. And it says to please touch, which is neat. That's really neat. Over here it says meet the giraffe's short-necked relative, the okapi. I think we saw one of these in Disney at the safari, on the safari ride, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of things here. I've been able to feed a water buffalo before. Julie and I, the zoo she took me to in North Carolina, had a couple of water buffalo. It was a drive-through zoo, and you could purchase food. But then, of course, in my mind, when I say water buffalo, so I don't know how much of a songbird you realize that she is, but she sings a song from VeggieTales, which is a little bit after my time as far as the age and singing. Everybody Has a Water Buffalo. I don't know if you guys know that song. If you don't, YouTube that, because she walks around the song or the house and sings that song quite often. But you see two lions here. These are female lions. It says they're showing you skulls. I'm going to pan very quickly here. Lion skull, and 5 million year ago lion skull. So it's just kind of neat. 2 meat eaters. Oh, I'm lying to you. That was an extinct bear. I see that now. Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's an extinct bear that you see. So they're comparing that 5 million years ago to a modern African lion that you see here. They can run up to 30 miles an hour. That's absolutely insane. But the females do most of the hunting, which is why you see 2 females taking down this water buffalo here. All right, let's move on. I think we have some dancing animals over here. Taking water. Let's go see what we've got. Yeah, Savannah waterhole. So you got a water buck. And of course you got a zebra, a couple of them. I cannot imagine trying to take in water like that from the giraffe. And then we have a hippo on the other side. As we're passing by, I just want to mention very quickly, they talk about the zebra's vessels in their neck when their head's down versus when their head is up. And just like with your legs and blood flow, when your legs are down and you are standing, your veins are closed, which is why when you get lightheaded, they tell you to raise your legs. Same way here. Their valves are open when their head is up for circulation, and they close when the head is down. So your veins use your deep muscle tissue to be able to pump blood back to the heart, which is why they have valves and the arteries don't. The arteries are just big open tubes. And so for some reason they specifically talk about blood circulation with this giraffe, I guess because of how severe his neck is angled right now to take in water. Okay, on to the hippo. Just reminiscing and talking, bear with me. Again, the first hippo I saw was with Julie, and it was in Florida, and it was in Homosassa Springs. We went and did a road trip in Florida before we ever lived there, and we saw one of the oldest hippos, and he was I think he was a movie star, and he had been in Barnum and Bailey's circus, and we could go watch him at feeding time, and there was actually a spray zone for after he ate so that you did not get dirty yourself. And I think he just recently passed away. But this is a very big, I mean, it reminds me of what we saw. These guys and their teeth and their mouth. The guy was throwing whole watermelons in his mouth, and it was absolutely insane. So this is a very cool specimen. And then they show you a relation to a pig, and then of course a farm pig on the little stand in front of the specimen here. I think Julie and I have found our closest relatives. These are the carnivores, the ultimate mammal predator. Yes, I totally agree. So we got a sun bear, clouded leopard up there in full yawn. Wow, his teeth are on big time display. I'm gonna make my way around here. Give me a second, I gotta pause. You got a white-nosed coati there. You got a jackal and a skunk and a gray seal hanging. I'm not sure if you can see the skunk. He's kind of right in front of. There we go. He's right in front of the seal. A mouflon there, one of the smallest wild sheep you see. Then we've got a hyrax and a big wild boar with some very large tusks. Not sure if you can see him very well. I'm going to try to move around this way. There he is in full display. Big guy. Oh, can you imagine? That would tear you up. Tear you up. And to end this section, we have a Bornean orangutan. His wingspan is massive. Massive, massive. Wow. It's really cool. Once the people move out of the way, I'll see if I can read a little bit on him. If there's anything special, you know, like I was saying with Teddy Roosevelt, some of these specimens will tell you the odd thing about how they got them, where they got them, something like that. Okay, it says these rare apes descend to the ground. Okay, that's interesting. So I guess he stays in the trees the majority of his life. Neat. And then they show you a human hanging upside down. We do not climb trees as well as these guys, though. This exhibit is so large, it's actually divided out into countries. So that's why I'm not showing you everything. I'm trying to find enough time to show you what's interesting to me. We'll end the exhibit with the North American mammals, but that'll be our last little section. So let's go see what we've got here in South America. Super excited. We might find stuff we've seen in Colombia. I think we saw one of these Goldie's monkeys. It says that at dusk, these little monkeys make their beds among leafy branches on a tree. After sunset, they're in constant motion. I think we saw these. We heard these in the trees when the sun went down, when we were in the rainforest on one of the blogs. They were quite small too, and this one, it seems to be, I think that may be what was there at that time. Definitely saw these, heard these in the jungle. These are the red howler monkeys. These guys sound like the entire rainforest is going to come down on top of you. They are so loud. They woke me up so many times. Julie and I, well, all four of us stayed at an eco hotel, so we had outdoor, basically we had no windows. It was, the outdoors was a mesh, and this guy woke me up, I'm not sure how many times, as it went from late night into early morning. He was a natural alarm clock. Very cool. I didn't know if I was going to see one of these in this exhibit. All right, I'm moving on to Australia. Of course, the land of kangaroos and koalas. And right here is the first of a few. As you can see, these guys are actually in motion. Let me get a better view and I'll show you. Here we go. Land of kangaroos, it says. And then there's a European rabbit. Red kangaroo, what this guy is. I've always been told, or heard, sorry, these guys are super muscular. And then this one's a kangaroo as well. This one's called a Huon tree kangaroo. Huh. Okay, before we leave, the last specimen I wanted to show you, that is not a bat. That's a flying fox. Can you believe that? A gray-headed flying fox. That's a big no for me. So we're going to head over to North America and see those guys. And I think that'll end us with the mammal section. And then you've got a glider, sugar glider right beside of it. No, you don't. You have a sugar glider down here. I'm sorry. You have a little red flying fox. Really? Little? Sugar gliders here. Alright. Moving on. We're headed right there where you see the coyote directly in front of us. Did you know there are two kinds of egg-laying mammals? I didn't know that. I just learned that. The platypus is one of them. Very interesting. Oh my gosh, we got a humongous bear over here. Let's go over and see this bear. Largest North American carnivore. This is a brown bear. Brown bear. Wow. Claws and teeth, grab and rip, meat and fish. And roots. This is a new species evolved to create this. Huh. Along Alaska's coast. This sucker is massive. Look at the claws on this thing. He's got to be standing close to 8 feet tall. Even on this platform, this platform's only, it's less than 2 foot. And I'm not even up to his shoulder. My gosh. Okay, I've never seen a badger before, but here is an American badger. I've been told these are the toughest animal on the planet, the meanest possibly as well. Look at those teeth. If you can see the teeth there. Zoom in a little bit. That's better for you. Oh, that's cool. We got a couple prairie dogs underneath here as well, kind of hiding out. They've done a good job over here of kind of showing you the landscape and where the animals would fit in. Oh, here's our American bison. Let me get over here to him. Oh, that's a big specimen. I'm not sure with this glass and the little video playing. Let me get over here. So, there's an impressive guy. Of course, the American bison, it went through years and years of extinction. before. They are now aplenty again here. If you haven't seen the documentary by Ken Burns about the American buffalo, you should watch that. It's a two-parter. Absolutely amazing. It's great. It's a great documentary. It's a sad documentary. Because the Native Americans used every piece of this animal. This animal was sacred to them. So to think about what the U.S. government did to drive the natives out of their own land and push them further west to the buffalo, you have to watch that documentary if you haven't seen it. But this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I think we have a jackrabbit. Is it a jackrabbit? A black-tailed jackrabbit over here. And this little fella. This is a grasshopper mouse. He's got his mouth wide open. Show you there. So that'll end our little prairie section of the North American mammals. Here's a bobcat. And I think we've all probably seen a bobcat. Bobtail says it reduces when the surface is cold out, which I did not know that. I just learned that. Okay, slightly spotted fur conceals him when he is out hunting. So I have seen these in the hills and the mountains. It's a little pheasant there that he's trying to capture. There we go. And I think you got a trash cat up here. I think I've seen more raccoons in the city and around the city of Charlotte than I ever saw in the wild in the hills. So that's... And in Florida, oh my gosh, they were all over the place when we were in Kissimmee, Florida at the beginning of this year. I would come out to work out before daylight. It looked like somebody was robbing the dumpsters. You shine a light on them and they scatter. There was a whole troop of them. But there's one in the wild. All right, I'm going to finish it up with the spring forest. This is one of the most amazing creatures on the planet. This little possum. Possums carry zero disease, and they eat all of your little bugs. They like to eat snakes too. They are just, I mean, you do not kill these little guys. They're just a magnificent little animal. I've heard they make great pets too. They train just like a dog. I've seen videos of people domesticating these, which I think is cool too. This is a Virginia possum. Alright, I'm going to finish our mammals with the most appropriate story that I can of the American black bear. And this little cub looks just like Amber. And the story I want to tell is that in Maggie Valley, which is in North Carolina, full of black bear, Jules and I had a discussion before we picked her up about naming her Maggie because she was all black. We decided not to because we found out that almost everybody's dog in the Charlotte area was named Maggie if it was a female. But this little cub, it says on the description, comes out weighing only about 2 sticks of butter, but will gain a pound a week, which is wild. It's a pretty black bear now. So that's how I'm going to finish up in the spring forest, North America, with our mammals. It's a story about little abadoos. Okay, headed back out. And like I said, guys, it is absolutely swamped with people today, so bear with me. If we've got a lot of cuts, it's only because I'm trying to film the most relevant stuff, most interesting stuff to me. Otherwise, we'd be standing in line for hours today. So I'm going to head to the gift shop, and then I think I'm going to call it an afternoon. I've been here for, gosh, over 2 hours filming, even though this has been cut down quite a bit. So I'm going to stop by the gift shop, see what's in there, and then make my way back out. There's actually 2 gift stores here. We're going to pop in one, maybe both, but I'm going to see what I can find in the gift store, and then meet you back right here in just a few minutes. We are bustling today on Constitution for sure. I gotta make my way back to the subway or the train. and I'll chat with you just a little bit. All right, I am back at the house. I got 2 postcards, and I want to show you very quickly. I got this one. You remember this one in the Mammals? That's the tiger and the manatee over there. We talked about that. That was a really nice favorite scene of first one. To let us know if you would like one, I will write you a message and send it your way. Thank you for joining me today at a little outing on my own to the Natural History Museum. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you did too. I'll see you again very soon in another video. Have a great day, guys. As always, thank you for joining and watching.